Now we're streaming.
Okay, so now that one's 45 seconds. Oh my gosh. Waiting for Steven. This one's live. No, but it's not live though. It's not live. Or is it live? It's not live. Oh, it is live. Hello, guys.
Looks like
Give
you're
us
live.
a second, please. See? Oh, it is live. Hello, guys. Okay, give us a second, please. I'm gonna have to share this. Okay. Okay, so it is live.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation 100th Special.
Okay, now I got your remix social.
Does she have to refresh?
Yeah,
It's coming up.
Oh, they're coming up.
okay, good. Okay.
I just posted the new link. Let me just delete.
To everyone tuning in, we are so
Oh,
happy
well,
you could join us.
And all of our mics are on still, I'm guessing.
Yeah, viewers. Yeah.
This is the waiting room for Skiba News Nation 100th Special.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll do it live!
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we try.
If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe, and also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
With the son of the legendary Rob Skiba, Jeremiah Skiba, what's up?
With my great and insightful co-host, Mr. Jake Graham. It's like I don't even want to wake up.
What? We were saying shalom.
he's on a quest for truth.
Hey, Skiba News Nation family, welcome to episode 100 of Skiba News Nation, your weekly source of the latest news, controversial topics, conspiracies, forgotten history, and so much more. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba, and today we're live. We're live, so we might mess up a couple times, but we love you guys, and we know that you guys love us. So
We already messed up.
yeah, so now I'd like to welcome my co-host, Mr. Jake Grant. Welcome, Jake.
Hello, Skiba News Nation. What's up, Jeremiah? Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us as we got the ball rolling. But now we're here, and we're excited to celebrate with you 100 episodes of Skiba News Nation.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Lindsay is over here working the live chats, and I love seeing it pop up. It's so cool. Here's a studio.
Hey, studio shot. That is awesome looking.
Yeah. So anyways,
Hey,
you guys, what's up?
I was just going to say, I saw somebody's head down there at the bottom, and you know that is only recognizable as one very special individual's head.
Well, it's covered
Oh,
now.
now it's popped up by the YouTube comment.
Oh,
There it is.
it's Opa's head. Hey, Opa.
Awesome.
Cool,
Well-
guys. Well, you got some good current news for me today? Oh, what? Like I said, there will be a lot of mess ups. I think I had an after intro.
Oh. Hi, how you doing?
Are you stuck?
Oh, I actually said it.
I'm pretty sure they can speak English. I'm pretty positive.
Baby!
No, 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 no. No, no, no. Go, go.
I heard help me.
Who's the meanest kitty of all? Why are you so mean?
هات اللحمة هات
I need my jacket. Do you want to eat?
Now,
Okay.
check out this after this clip. Watch what this guy is so cool.
Is it trying to throw up?
No, it's singing a song. It's like I don't really know what they're saying, but they're saying something. Anyways, yeah, that was supposed to be our after intro clip, but yeah, man, you got some good current news for me today?
Yeah, I do. And some fun, exciting, cool stuff I wanted to share with you guys. Let's get into it.
Awesome.
Hey, so here, cut back over here real quick, Opa. What? Hey, it's me, Mr. CTV News. Sorry. Okay, before we get to the videos, I just wanted to let everybody know it's so cool to be doing this episode live because we're going to have people there in the chat that while we're going through some of these concepts, these videos, please leave your insight and we can share it on the screen so we can kind of have a discussion. Jeremiah, myself, Opa, and Lindsay, we can kind of break down some of these interesting topics. And that's what's so cool about doing the 100th episode totally live like this. Now, oftentimes we record earlier in the week and we edit it up so we can be nice and fresh for you guys. But, you know, we're just kind of winging this episode. Before we get into the actual news, I wanted to share my screen. If you guys have not heard yet, my board game Tribe the Game is available. And if you want to check it out, you can go to tribethegame.net. So you can check out tribethegame.net over here. It's got some cool pictures. Here's the places you can pre-order. I got the standard game and a few leftover of the first edition if anybody's interested. And these epic warrior pawns, if people want to pre-order these, they can jump on there now and check out this cool game I invented. Anyways, with that said, one other quick thing I wanted to share with you guys is just today I dropped a video that Jeremiah Skiba himself helped me film, and I wanted to share a short clip here at the beginning of our episode of a song we performed at Bertaria Times National Festival 2024, and Jeremiah actually made this look like super sweet, almost like music video quality and stuff. But anyways, I just wanted you guys to check this out, and then we might play one more of these clips at the end of the episode. All right, Opa, here we go.
Opa, you gotta switch. Oh, there we go. It's frozen. Awesome.
All right, so I was so stoked to show that, and we'll show one more song at the end of this episode. But it was a great time, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the bear community, and because I posted the full set over on my YouTube channel today, if you guys wanted to check it out. All right, so with all my cool little show me and tells, let's get into the actual news this week, right? Oh my gosh! All right, so check it out. We have
Hurricane Helene as it slams Florida
hitting the
tonight.
coast.
And
this
even
is
before it made
hurricane
landfall,
season.
there were
Let's look at
ominous
this.
warnings. The U.S. National Weather Service is forecasting storm surges of up to 6 meters, predicting they could be potentially catastrophic, even unsurvivable. Also tonight, a grim message to those defying evacuation orders to mark their bodies with identifying information. CTV's Joy Malbin starts us off.
Hurricane Helene began hammering Florida with rain, powerful winds, even tornadoes.
I think we got a water spout here, guys.
Parts of the state like Fort Myers already flooded out. Even before making landfall, federal officials warning this hurricane will bring storm surges up to 6 meters high, what they call unsurvivable.
We could see up to 20 feet of storm surge. So just think back 2 years ago to Hurricane Ian, and 150 people lost their lives, the majority of them from drowning.
Federal authorities staging search and rescue teams along the coast, activating 3,000 National Guard troops, and bracing for widespread power outages that could last weeks. Even from space, this storm is so big, fueled by warm ocean water. Community leaders pleaded with residents.
Please leave. Just please do. It's not worth it. Just get out. It'll either be here when you get back or it won't. But don't leave yourself in harm's way.
In Tallahassee, the state capital could face a dead-on direct hit for the first time. That's where Canadian Robin Yateman is hunkered down.
They're talking about 100-mile-an-hour winds. I'm not sure I'm going to have a roof on my house tomorrow. I'm worried about windows blowing in. Hopefully that's wrong. Hopefully that's the worst case scenario. But we're just not sure because we haven't had one hit this hard before.
The intensity of this storm unlike anything seen in this area. With roads and bridges being closed down, there's a sense of urgency and a final warning from local officials to those who didn't heed the warnings.
If you're just bound and determined to stay and not get out of harm's way, go ahead and take a black magic marker, write your name, your social security number, everything on the armor. We can identify you.
Chilling words, Omar, as the National Weather Service describes Helene as one of the most dangerous storms in recent history, already affecting a dozen states from Florida up to the Carolinas. Omar?
All right, Joy, thank you.
Well,
Amazon
well,
hates this, you
but
know,
there's
nothing
it's
they can do to stop it.
dangerous.
There's a
Sorry,
new electric lighter out.
You know it's dangerous when the government is literally telling you, go ahead and mark your bodies so that when we come back to rescue you, we know who you are. What a terrifying situation. I know that hit mostly this early morning and throughout today that we're recording this. And it's even affecting our friends over in the Carolinas. I know Flattoberfest got shut down with some of our buddies over there, you know, trying to put together a festival this weekend, I believe. But anyways, our prayers go out to all those people affected. And now we're going to get into some other stuff going on. We have this. An interesting meeting recently took place at the UN. And we're going to cover this in several videos and hear somebody who is kind of breaking down how media is being used to distract us from this very topic. But check out this video starting with how it has begun from Jason A.
To humbly alert the different nations of the world about the path that we are moving down and have been for decades.
Israeli Defense Force says the military is preparing for a possible ground operation in Lebanon, and it says boots will enter enemy territory. This as world leaders gather here at the United Nations General Assembly.
I'd like to issue a warning here. We are coming to the end of a cycle. Collectivism and the moral posturing and the woke agenda is coming up against reality. There are no further credible solutions to the real problems of the world. If the 2030 agenda fails, as recognized by its own promoters, the response should be to wonder whether or not this was an ill-conceived program from the outset.
President Trump was briefed earlier today by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence regarding real and specific threats from Iran to assassinate him in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the U.S. Make no mistake, the terror regime in Iran loves the weakness of Kamala Harris and is terrified of the strength and resolve of President Trump. He will let nothing stop him or get in his way to fight for the American people.
We've seen how an organization that was born to defend the rights of man has become one of the main proponents of systematic violations of freedom, such as, for instance, the lockdowns imposed in 2020, which should be seen as a crime against humanity. The world has become divided, depressed, concerned, and hopeless. And it's done so in an unprecedented pace. The free world is no longer free. This is not an exaggeration. Tragically, we have undeniable proof of this every day. New threats of war continue. When the free world became free, it was due to freedom of expression, freedom before the law. But once a nation abandons the principles that make it free, it's only a question of time before it completely loses its freedom. The consequences of this we can see before our eyes.
Biden appearing on The View just about an hour ago. He was directly asked about the attempts on Donald Trump's life.
But now he's blaming rhetoric from you, that you inspired these two assassination attempts. After all of the calls for violence, you know, take them out, all the rest of it, you know what it is. Don't you think that that is just unbelievable? And what do you say to that?
Well, I think he is the most unusual president. No. A democracy is at stake.
And to restore the soul of this country.
Yes, and look, Trump is
Careful.
There's not a lot of social redeeming value there.
No, you think? Right.
But here's the thing. He really does not believe in democracy.
What's disturbing is that there are a whole lot of Democrats in this country who are taking his marching orders very seriously. There was a Rasmussen poll released last week that found that nearly 25% of Democrats Wish the attempted assassinations had been successful. Realize where we are at because it is scary.
I've come here to tell the world, on the one hand, what will happen if the United Nations continues to promote collectivist policies that it's been promoting under the mantle of the 2030 Agenda. The result was that we moved from having 2 world wars in less than 40 years, which together claimed more than 120 million lives, to having 70 consecutive years of relative global peace and security and stability. This was an organization that had essentially been thought up as a shield to protect the reign of men, and it became a leviathan with various tentacles purporting to decide not only what each nation state should do, but also how all the citizens in the world should live. That's how we moved from being an organization that pursued peace to an organization that imposes an ideology on its members. It's been replaced by a model of supranational government, of international bureaucrats that attempt to impose on citizens of the world a specific way of living. The 2030 Agenda, although it's well-intentioned in its goals, is nothing but a supranational government program that is socialist in shape. It purports to resolve the problems of modernity with solutions that afflict the sovereignty of nation states and violate the right to life, right to freedom and property of persons. It's an agenda that purports to resolve poverty, inequality, discrimination with legislation that simply furthers these issues. In this same House that had voted against the state of Israel, which is the only country in the Middle East to defend a liberal democracy, we have simultaneously shown a total inability to respond to the scourge of terrorism. On the economic level, we have promoted collectivist policies that undermine economic growth, violate property rights, and disrupt a natural economic process.
Both Hamas and Hezbollah are backed by Iran, which has promised retaliation against Israel for the killing of a Hamas leader in Tehran last month. But their response to this latest escalation has been measured, calling on the international community to stop the violence.
We are concerned about the repetition of disasters like those that happened in Gaza, and therefore we demand immediate intervention by the UN.
We should immediately stop the violence and bring about a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, and bring an end to the barbarism of Israel and Lebanon before it engulfs the region and the world. Israel has been defeated in Gaza, and no amount of barbaric violence can restore its myth of invincibility.
We're also seeing the erosion of freedom of expression, the biggest platform of social media in the world. Citizens of Western countries have been arrested for their postings on social media. Governments have had to impose restrictions. This isn't a conspiracy theory. These are fully documented, proven facts. You can't win the favor of the people without respecting people. This didn't start just a while ago. We've only just noticed it now because it's accelerating, and this means that we are moving towards a scary inflection point. We are standing before a new dark period for humanity. As a Salvadorian, I recognize these symptoms because we have experienced all of them. We saw the collapse of our nation step by step, and we are seeing these same steps, but this time on a global scale. For this reason, I'd like to officially express our dissent on the Pact for the Future that was signed on Sunday, and I invite all nations of the free world to support us, not only in relation to this pact, but also in the establishment of a new agenda for this noble institution, that is the agenda for freedom. Long live freedom, God damn it. Thank you very much.
Sorry, censored capability is not possible in live broadcast. Anyways, I think it's very interesting considering the changes we're seeing on the world stage and what we're seeing currently with the UN. And, it's hilarious watching that interpreter speak for him. I mean, with the budget the UN's working with, they couldn't hire a male interpreter to interpret the male president. Are they just trying to slip their agenda even more just by choosing cross-gendered interpreters? No. All right, conspiracies aside, we have escalating tensions in the Middle East, and we have here breaking news of some things that are going on with the IDF and the Hezbollah headquarters that supposedly is in Lebanon. So check this out. This is definitely something that is incendiary to the Middle East situation.
A precise strike on the central headquarters of the Hezbollah terror organization that served as the epicenter of Hezbollah's terror.
International order,
Hezbollah's
and
central
this is the biggest.
Was intentionally built under residential buildings in the heart of the Dahia in Beirut, as part of Hezbollah's strategy of using Lebanese people as human shields. On October 8th, Hezbollah started attacking Israel. After almost a year of Hezbollah firing rockets, missiles, and suicide drones at Israeli civilians, after almost a year of Israel warning the world and telling them that Hezbollah must be stopped, Israel is doing what every sovereign state in the world would do if they had a terror organization that seeks their destruction on their border, taking the necessary action to protect our people so that Israeli families can leave their homes safely and securely.
All right, so there we have the declaration from the IDF that the war is now moving from Lebanon, or from Israel to Lebanon. So between Gaza and Israel, we have the Hezbollah conflict, and we have a lot of things kind of moving in the past few hours, really. So I just wanted to share that.
And likewise, we have to build
with
a
that
new
shared,
international
check out this
order.
next clip, which is once again the female voice interpreter. So if you can bear with it, some of the things that are talked about are very important, and these things that are being discussed by the French French leader here, as well as some other figures, are very important to pay attention to, because they're trying to slip this under the radar. And I believe this is why we have such media focus on stories like P. Diddy and several other controversial topics recently, not to mention the election being a time that everybody's attention is on politics here in the U.S. Well, these sweeping decisions that might affect you and me are currently happening. Watch this clip here.
And likewise, we have to build a new international order, and this is the biggest challenge of our time.
President Biden hoping to burnish his image. Only a few months left for his term, but this image will not be easy. A series of major foreign policy conflicts breaking out during his term. You got Afghanistan in 21, Ukraine in 22, Israel in 23, and a Middle East conflict now on the verge of erupting into a wider regional war.
Emmanuel Macron, President of the French Republic. We all remember your words 2 years ago in Rome.
Mesdames et messieurs, en vos grades et qualités.
By the way, Japan fired at Russian jets who they say violated their airspace. God, is Japan getting involved in this now? I mean, it truly is worrisome to expect that we could see a World War III here.
So the international order we are following today is a frozen order. It's an unjust order because it is not representative of what reality really is today. So if you want to imagine peace, we have to think about a world order that allows us to face together the challenges of peace, war, development, technology, climate, on our planet with no priorities. And this is what we're trying to do with the Pact of Paris for the peoples of the planet. And we have to do that in an order where there's no country that can stop anyone else. A system where all the countries are represented with equal dignity. And we should do that with claims that are fairer. The UN, the IMF, the World Bank, well, they will all contribute to the need to imagine peace.
As America withdraws or attempts to withdraw from the region, its influence over the relevant parties diminishes. The less reliable America looks, the less value anyone attaches to promises of American support. The more obviously America looks towards the exits, the less anyone fears America's power.
That's different from what you saw during 8 years of President Obama and now 4 years of her and President Biden's leadership. Their theory of the case is appease the Iranians, negotiate with them. There are moderates there. We can all sing Kumbaya and find our way forward, when the reality is the Iranians have now taken $6 billion from the United States in exchange for hostages, now holding more American hostages in Gaza. They killed 1,200 Israeli and American citizens on October 7th, And our response has been, hey, can we just get a ceasefire? This signals to the world that America has left the global stage. We're not prepared to defend the things that matter to us. And the risk of escalation resulting from this American weakness, this failure of deterrence, is very real.
Well, we needed people that had this vision, that were able to imagine the European peace, and we need to fuel this imagination. We have to imagine the peace of tomorrow in a new way, a peace, and Monsignor, I apologize. I hope you're not going to take offense at this, but I'm thinking about imagining a peace that, beyond the channel, there might be reconciliation with the Balkans, for example, reality in a geographical form that is not NATO, that is not the European Union. Yes, we are going on with the idea of a European political community, or anyway, a new form of Europe. We must think again of our relations with Russia if we want peace in Europe. And likewise, we have to build a new international order. And this is the biggest challenge of our time. Because what we are experiencing is an incomplete and unjust system. Incomplete because it was designed at the end of World War II. And so it actually had no concerns that arose later on in time.
Writing, quote, "It is a far more dangerous world than Mr. Biden inherited and far less congenial for U.S. interests, human freedom, and democracy. Authoritarians have advanced on his watch in every part of the world, Europe, Asia, Pacific, and the Middle East, Africa, and even the Americas, General." Your reaction?
Well, that's absolutely true. And the 20 months I spent on the Congressional Commission, we issued our report recently, and we said much the same thing, but we're very specific about it. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have all increased their aggression in the world at the expense of the United States and like-minded democracies. It's not isolated. There's major war in Europe, not seen since World War II. It's not isolated that Iran has stepped up its game in the Middle East and to seek its national objectives to drive the people from living in Israel so that the state of Israel cease to exist and drive the United States out of the region. That's why the Middle East is on fire. And President Xi has stepped up his game in terms of his aggression in the Indo-Pacific region. The drumbeat of leading to a major conflict where we could be fighting a war in more than one region is on the horizon. It is alarming. The seriousness and the danger that we're facing, and this administration will not talk to it, will not tell the American people how serious and challenging this danger really is.
The chief cabinet secretary in Japan held an emergency press conference overnight on the clash, saying that the Russian planes violated Japanese airspace north of Ribbon Island in Hokkaido 3 times between 1 and 3 p.m. local time yesterday, General. It truly is worrisome to expect that we could see a World War III here.
We are always experts of the past or of a past world because our experience is built on something we have experienced already. So we always think about finding solutions for a new world by going along the lines of what we had in the past, but it is not like that. Quite the contrary.
270.
If we are
That's insane.
replicating or copying something, we're actually fueling a form of nostalgia of something that once was, something that seemed to be more beautiful than what we have today. But this is no solution. The solution lies in imagination.
President Biden touched on the myriad tragedies impacting every part of the globe. Climate
Thank you so
change,
much,
artificial
guys.
intelligence, and the ongoing wars in Ukraine and Sudan. He ended his final major foreign policy speech with a call for unity around the world.
All right, so some very important things. If you can kind of hone in on what's being actually discussed there. Hey, guys. Hey, hello.
Sorry.
They don't want you carrying one, but it's not illegal.
Can you cut to Drake? Sorry.
So, as you can tell, some important topics are being discussed. The Paris agreement that they're trying to make, and some of these other kind of world-shaking decisions are being contemplated. And I thought this next video I'm going to share is very interesting. It's just the opinion of your local friendly internet grandma. Check this clip out.
Hi, this is Celeste Solom from the Celestial Report, and today I have some very critical and very disturbing news for all of us. I was just monitoring the UN Summit for the Future, and despite opposition by communist, socialist, and fascist countries saying that the summit and the pacts, these legal instruments to take over the world, were not by global consensus and they opposed them, they did not have a they did not believe that they wanted an amendment inserted into the various legal mechanisms that they would retain their sovereignty. North Korea, Iran, and Russia were all against it. They were pushing for a amendment in this pact for the future. Unfortunately, I have very sad news to share with you that in under 5 minutes, the UN passed all of its whole entire legal instruments to take over the world. So as of now, we have no idea. This will throw the state of the world in absolute chaos. If you need anything, I would do it today. Be prepared that they did pass the digital compact, which means that they will be going over to a digital currency. Our banks may be frozen. If you have any items you need, I would go do it today. Make sure that you're topped off on whatever you need to be topped off on. I'm not being alarmist. I have been covering the proceedings and the leading up to this since the middle of July. I've been doing it in the Lair of the Dragon, in the Color of Evil, and now the UN obliterates all boundaries. I knew this was coming because they basically were obliterating every boundary that God has established into our bodies, all the laws of nature, physics, chemistry, biology, time, space. They were at it. So actually this vote took place on April 8th, which was very interesting timing because they did it during the solar eclipse. Oftentimes evil people will do these things, like Haman in the Bible went to the astrologers and they picked this certain celestial pattern because it was propitious for the annihilation of the Jews. And whether you read the Bible or not, during COVID, they did the exact same thing. The scientists and technologists had to roll out the you-know-what on a certain day because of a certain alignment of stars and planets that would amplify what they were rolling out. Now, today, I do believe that it is the fall equinox. Why am I concerned about this critical decision by the United Nations to take over the planet on this particular day? Because in the ancients, whether it's the ancient Egyptians, whether it's the occultists and other various evil people have believed that on the fall equinox is the gate to the gods. And the UN, by its decision overriding the different countries' belief that they wanted amendments to protect their sovereignty of their respective countries, they do believe that they are gods. And so this thing is going to slip really fast. If I'm a little bit rattled, I mean, I couldn't believe that in under 5 minutes they made this decision, even though the real decision was made on April 8th, the day of the solar eclipse. So what I'm just telling you is be in fervent prayer, get any last minute items, and really be in a repentance state. If you have aught against your brother or sister, please make your peace with them. Make peace with your God. If you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, now would be a good time, because we are entering into a time that has been spoken of in the Bible, but it is also...
All right, guys. Now, of course, there's more to that, but I wanted to cover the actual article because there's a significance to some of these things that are being decided, and it's why I think it's being pushed through during election year, why there's so many distracting topics. Press release: the United Nations adopts groundbreaking pact for the future to transform global scene, right? New York. Sorry, I'm trying to get this where you guys can read it with me. Yeah, I'm having an issue here getting it to line up. One moment. Alrighty.
This is just proof that we're live, man.
Yeah, proof that we're live.
Proof of live.
Man. Okay, here we go. All right, September 2024, world leaders today adopt a pact for the future that includes a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. This pact is the culmination of an inclusive, years-long process to adapt international cooperation to the realities of today and the challenges of tomorrow. The most wide-ranging international agreement in many years, covering entirely new areas as well as issues on which agreement has not been possible in decades. The pact aims, above all, to ensure that international institutions can deliver in the face of a world that has changed dramatically since they were created. As the Secretary General has said, we cannot create a future fit for our grandchildren with a system built by our grandparents. Overall, the agreement of the pact is a strong statement of country's commitment to the United Nations, the international system, and international law. Leaders set out a clear vision of an international system that can deliver on its promises. So, basically, long story short, they're looking to influence digital currencies, digital identification. Imagine some of the things that were rolled out in 2020. There's reach of environmental protections and health protections. Anyways, all right, so moving on to another interesting video. I hope you guys enjoy a clip of some
but new research
astronomers discussing
otherwise.
UFOs
That there's a strong
regularly
correlation between
going over
multiple transients and UFO
DC.
events.
Check this out.
And that in case we can show this correlation in a strong way, we would actually find support for that we see that UFOs are related to artificial objects.
News Nation special correspondent Ross Coldhart talks with a physicist and astronomer studying artificial objects in space in his latest episode of News Nation's Reality Check podcast. Right now, the link to Reality Check with Ross Coldhart is live. All you got to do, take out your phone right now, scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen here. You can also visit News Nation's website or YouTube page to get that link. Okay, joining me now, we have Ross Coldhart with us live this morning. Ross, good morning to you. You've piqued our interest, as usual. You talked to this doctor. What's her hypothesis about what happened?
Good morning, Marky. Well, it's a fascinating story. It's a case of now you see it, now you don't. Beatrice Villarol, Dr. Beatrice Villarol, is based in Sweden, and she had this very clever idea of looking at photographs that were taken before human satellites went into orbit, so before Sputnik in 1957. And she happened to look at photographic glass plates that were taken by the Palomar Observatory in California, and she looked in the exact weekends for the 2 flyover periods over Washington, D.C., and she found 1 minute it was not there, and half an hour later on these glass plate slides, it was there. There were these objects in orbit, maybe way out in deep space. We don't know how far out they were, but Dr. Villarol hypothesizes, she can't say categorically, she hypothesizes that there might be a link with the weekend incidents on the 2 weekends, consecutive weekends in 1952, for what is and remains America's biggest and most mysterious UFO sighting over the national capital. And it's fascinating because these glass plates show these objects were there in a half-hour period and then they were gone. And this was over 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Just 30 minutes apart.
You and I have talked extensively about UFOs, UAPs. What exactly is an artificial object in space?
Well, an artificial object is like for us, it's our satellites. It's satellites, rockets, any kind of terrestrial technology that's been put up there. And what's clever about Dr. Villarol's research is she recognized that before 1957, before the Soviets beat us with their Sputnik satellite, there was nothing up there, at least nothing that we knew about. And so it's possible to look at those glass plate negatives and compare them with present day photographs and see whether there's anything that isn't there that should be if they were genuine photographs of the night sky. And so an artificial object is something that frankly can't be explained by a planet, a meteor, or a star. And what she's discovered is that there are these objects, and she calls them transients. They're there 1 minute and they're gone the next. And so there is a possibility that what they are, is some kind of spacecraft.
And what about space debris? I think you touched on this too. Back in the 1950s, there was very little space debris as compared to now. What's changed?
Well, in the 1950s, before 1957, there was absolutely none, because we didn't have any objects. We hadn't put anything into space before 1957. So that's what's so special about these early photographic images. They are clear, high-resolution images taken by some of America's top observatories of what the night sky looked like back then. And we can compare that with the present day and see whether there are any objects that have disappeared off those slides. And there are, and that's the fascinating thing about this work. It raises the possibility that there were objects in Earth orbit on the very weekends that we had one of the biggest UFO sightings in American history.
Wow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. Also, don't forget...
So, as you can say, like he said at the very end, it was one of the largest UFO recorded sightings in history, apparently.
Wow.
So very, very interesting. And I have one more fun video that I want to share with you guys. But there's something that's still related to our previous segment that I wanted to cover that I missed. And it was a notice from Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. And it says this regarding... why we're being distracted by things like the P. Diddy scandals and all the different things politically here in the U.S. It says this from Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's newsletter. The United Nations formed a pact automatically adopted since nobody objected that will allow the New World Order to take control of the world. It is a power structure implemented to control the masses. Once in effect, any opposing person will be punished by taking away the ability to bank, freely travel, even in our vehicles, buy groceries, etc. If we don't push back on this, we will lose our freedoms for good by 2025. We'll be forced to get a digital ID as a driver's license. It will track everything we do and every extreme, and we have 3 weeks to stop this digital ID. And so, of course, they have their website. Visit cchfreedom.org. And I can't vouch or, disavow anything. I don't know really what they're planning to do to stop it, but click on the link, to stop the Real ID. It was under my understanding that most states already require Real ID. I know some holdouts out there have kept their old license and whatnot, but man, I know kind of a whirlwind here through some of these UN meetings, but on a very interesting topic of human psychology, and it reminds me how people that aren't really crazy can be labeled as crazy, and people who are completely insane can fake the part and have a cleared name. So check out this clip, which is an interesting experiment that was conducted.
Where they sent 8 mentally healthy patients to a mental hospital. All 8 patients were told to tell their doctors that they were hearing voices. Stanford University ran an experiment where they sent 8 mentally healthy patients to a mental hospital. All 8 patients were told to tell their doctors that they were hearing voices and seeing hallucinations. But once they got accepted into the mental hospital, they were told to act completely normal. The people in charge of this experiment did not tell the hospital or staff that they were running the experiment. After 7 days of all 8 patients being in the mental hospital, all of them were diagnosed with serious mental disorders. In fact, all 8 patients were diagnosed with either schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, even though the entire time they acted completely normal. Stanford University published their findings challenging the validity of diagnosing psychiatric disorders. When the hospital heard about this, they asked Stanford to perform the experiment one more time. They wanted to prove that they could accurately diagnose patients and tell if a patient was faking it or not. The experimenters back at Stanford told the hospital they would in fact send 8 more patients. For the next 5 weeks, the hospital really focused in on patients, trying to find the 8 patients that were quote-unquote faking it. After 5 weeks of looking for the 8 patients, the hospital called Stanford and claimed they found the 8 patients, only for Stanford to tell the hospital that they hadn't sent any 8 patients yet. Stanford University ran an experiment where they sent 8 mentally healthy patients.
Oh man, I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it really does show how our system can be flawed in the way that it's implemented. But there were like 8 people that were treated as if they were crazy that weren't. You know, allegedly. You know, we all have a little bit of crazy in us, if you know what I mean. But
if you're not crazy, you're not normal, bro. That's how it is.
Yes, I've heard the line between madness and genius is but a thin squabble. Oh man. All right. Well, I got some fun memes later, and I might share that song. But that's pretty much all the news for this week, Jeremiah.
All right. Thanks, Jake, for another great current news as always. And now a quick look how you can connect with us here at Skiba News Nation. So check this out.
Don't forget about our Skiba News Nation hotline, where you can leave us a voicemail telling us what topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or ask us a question and we'll answer it on the show. We can't wait to hear your voicemail. Our number is 214-617-3330. You can also write us a letter to Jeremiah Skiba, P.O. Box 560271, The Colony, Texas 75056. I will definitely write you back.
And make sure that you check out JJ's CBD Rub on jjcbdrub.com. So I'm really excited about this week's Opa's Corner because he's going to do it live just like this show. So here we go. It's about that time for an all-new Opa's Corner. Take it away, Opa.
There we go. Now I got my mic on. Hi everybody, and I normally have to do about 50 takes before I can finally get an OPA'S Corner right. So this is going to be extremely interesting doing it live. So let's get started, I guess. Woo.
The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to believe it or not.
Believe it or not, you.
Wally, believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Believe it!
You're a loony.
There is an Australian... Oh, something happened here. I already messed up. Let's go back. There we go. There is an Australian band called The Beards. Every single one of their 38 songs is about beards. Believe it or not. In Australia, more people are killed by kangaroos than sharks. Believe it or not. In 1922, a herd of cattle in Devon, England, chased a wanted fugitive out of their field and into the hands of nearby police. Believe it or not. Some police motorcycles in 1920s had a jail sidecar. Believe it or not. In 1958, Bruce Lee became the Crown Colony Cha-Cha dancing champion of Hong Kong. Believe it or not. In 2024, Vermont State University honored cat Max, the popular feline, with the title of Doctor of Literature. Believe it or not. The George Washington statue in Trafalgar Square in London stands on a base filled with soil from let's try that again, see? That's one of my takes. The George Washington statue in Trafalgar Square, London, stands on a base filled with soil from Virginia, honoring Washington's promise to avoid British soil. Believe it or not. Julia Butterfly Hill lived in a 1,000-year-old tree for 2 years to save the forest from loggers. Believe it or not. Early cuckoo clocks featured the sound of a rooster, but its multi-note call was difficult for the clock's mechanism to replicate, so the simple two-tone call of a cuckoo became popular. Believe it or not. And that was messed up there.
That's okay.
I went one too many. Albert Einstein. Let's see, in 1954, in a letter to a magazine, Albert Einstein admitted to wanting to be a plumber. Believe it or not. Elephants have such good hearing that they can hear clouds. Believe it or not. At least 12,000 bikes are pulled out of Amsterdam's canals annually. Believe it or not. Each year on November 29th, the Netherlands residents put pancakes on their head in honor of Dutch Pancake Day. Believe it or not. In 2024, the White House directed NASA to establish a new time standard for the moon by 2026, known as Coordinated Lunar Time, or LTC. Believe it or not. Michael Jackson wanted to play Jar Jar Binks in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Believe it
I believe that.
or not.
Love Jar Jar.
The sound of Kylo Ren's force powers in Star Wars The Force Awakens was created by altering the sound effect of a cat purring. Believe it or not.
Looks just like him.
In 2024, researchers using NASA's James Webb Space Telescope identified the required chemical ingredients for a margarita surrounding 2 young protostars. Believe it or not. Before launching his Hollywood career, actor Sylvester Stallone cleaned lion cages at the Central Park Zoo in New York. Believe it or not. Dave McPherson was Disneyland's first visitor and given a lifetime ticket when he used it regularly from 1955 until he passed in 2018.
Wow.
Believe it or not. Parts of Jurassic World were filmed at the abandoned Six Flags theme park in New Orleans. Believe it or not. So that was the believe it or not, and I messed up a couple of times, but let's try our one-liners. Okay, here we go. I worry about ridiculous things. You know, how does a guy who drives a snowplow get to work in the morning? That can keep me awake for days. People say, "Oh, Pa, you're an optimist." And I say, "I hope so." Life is like a box of chocolates. It doesn't last long if you're fat. I doubt there's a heaven. I think people from hell have probably bought it for a timeshare. I said to the gym instructor, "Can you teach me to do the splits?" He said, "How flexible are you?" I said, "I can't make Tuesdays." I don't like country music, but I don't mean to denigrate those who do. And for the people who like country music, denigrate means put down.
Not Democrat.
Chopsticks are one of the reasons the Chinese never invented custard.
Huh.
Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. Small, large, circle, square, thin crust, thick crust, stuffed crust, extra toppings.
Extra cheese?
I almost had a psychic girlfriend, but she left me before I met.
Aw.
When I turned 2, I was really anxious because I doubled my age in 1 year. I thought, if this keeps up, by the time I'm 6, I'll be 90. If you were going to shoot a mime, would you use a silencer? I installed a skylight in my apartment. The people who lived above are furious. I went to the doctor and said, "Have you got anything for wind?" He gave me a kite. If you can't lose... Sorry, let's try that again. You can't lose a homing pigeon. If your homing pigeon doesn't come back, then what you lose is a pigeon. Why do dogs race to the door when the doorbell rings? It's almost never for them.
Joke normally do. That's funny.
I bought some instant water, but I didn't know what to add. If Barbie is so popular, why do you have to buy her friends?
Oh, that's true.
If you tell a joke in a forest and nobody laughs, is it a joke? Do you think when they asked George Washington for an ID, he just whipped out $1?
Yeah.
I was arrested for lip-syncing karaoke. Let's try that again. I was arrested for lip-syncing karaoke. Okay.
I like karaoke.
Karaoke? Yeah, right.
It's like car karaoke.
Okay, so let's try the funnies now. All right. Give me a second here. And now I think, well, let's try it again. And now they'll go about their business not realizing they're being tracked.
That's true.
Well, that would certainly explain why he let 3 of us on board. I give thanks for the cat.
You better.
Fake injury drills. Come on, make me believe it. Book signing by the author of My Time on the Wall, Everything I Heard and Saw. You know, if we were just going to run anyways, don't you think it'd be a lot easier if we didn't carry this huge stone car all the time?
That's a good point.
Oh, sorry. Back up. Here we go. Don't you think an intertube is a rather odd last request? Here comes Elmer. I'm sure he'll stick around for a while. Although an unexplained phenomena, there is a place on the outskirts of Mayfield, Nebraska, where the sun doesn't shine. Excuse me, but I was told to stick this thing here. How the first pyramid got started. Here's the paperweight you ordered, Pharaoh. Not big enough. Build it bigger until I tell you to stop.
Yeah.
Oh no! We're getting threatening tweets from the lions. And tigers. And bears. Oh my. I never play with them, of course. I'm strictly a collector.
That's true. We got a whole box of them.
There you go. And lose a goatee. You look ridiculous. Famed critic signs copies of his book today. Your judgment will be recorded for quality assurance. Oh, this one I gotta play. Hold on. What happened here? Oh, crap.
Just skip it.
Oh, well. I'll have to find that one later. Oh, wait a minute. What happened here? I'm told. Well, there we go. For sale. Pickaxe, shovel, crowbar, metal cutting saw, night vision goggles. Used once. Good condition. Hey, Dad. Want to play... Let's try that again. Hey, Dad. We want to play Arby before we go to bed. Can we have our toy medals back? I will not eat anything that once had a soul. Not a problem. He was a lawyer. Shipwrecked doctors. No one can write the word help legibly. Try that again. No one can write the word help legibly. We tried to do our best, sir, but you were mean and rude. How you'd like your dinner? We all spit in your food. Hey!
It's my worst fear.
No, I don't think a squeaky toy breaks your vow of silence.
It should.
A 40-day cruise? Just the two of us without the kids. Oh, Harold, this might be the best vacation ever. I hope it doesn't rain. What a lousy trip. It rained the whole time.
Can't win them all.
Whatever happened to all the good jungle gyms and monkey bars from when we were kids? Climate change is real. Stop it! You're gonna make my homework come out of my nose. You'd have more friends if you didn't correct their mistakes all the time. Whiteout. He sure loves fresh litter.
Oh, that's like okay.
They're not really ready for they're not ready for pyramids. Let's come back in a million years. We'd love to join you for a bite to eat, but we're stuffed. Who said that? Taco emergency. Call 911. 2-pack of M&Ms for 50 cents. That's ludicrous. Ain't no biggie, though. I'm getting stronger with age. I can now lift $100 worth of groceries with one hand.
Yeah.
I don't know who needs to know this, but even if a bear wears socks and shoes, he still has bare feet. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock, and here's what we want you to think.
Yeah.
And that concludes another OPA'S Corner. Oh, wrong one.
Proof of live.
There we go. There we go.
Muss ich denn zu Städten hinaus und du, mein Schatz, bleibst hier. Wenn ich komm, wenn ich wiederum komm, kehr ich ein, mein Schatz, bleib hier. Kann ich bleiben,
You guys can name that Elvis song. You'll win the prize.
kann ich doch mein Freude an dir, Wenn ich komm, wenn ich wiederum komm, kehr ich ein, mein Schatz, bleib hier.
Great job, Opa. I think I'll make a lot lot more mistakes than you did. You did great. Now a quick look at our Babylon Rising bookstore.
Check out our new and improved BabylonRisingBooks.com, where you can get Rob Skiba's books, bundles, DVDs, DVD-ROMs, videos, and so much more. You can even get Sheila and Jeremiah's books, so check it out now.
All right, you guys ready for an all-new History's Mysteries? Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about something kind of interesting, kind of weird, and kind of predictable, you could say. And I do have a teacher here with me, so if she's going to confirm or deny whatever this is. Okay, so we're going to be talking about a company/YouTube channel called CoComelon. Now, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I think this channel and many others like it are the newest forms of MK Ultra. So let's play his first clip so we kind of get an idea of what CoComelon is. So check this out.
My son is almost but now I have to get speech therapy so I can get it. There are hundreds and hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem. The CoComelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Children's TV expert Jeremiah Skiba calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The three main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines. CoComelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. CoComelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. CoComelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way CoComelon does. The second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room. This is only exacerbated by CoComelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. CoComelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children are receiving quality educational content. But people have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching CoComelon, which taught him no, 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 and just say no to me. On the topic of education, Jeremiah Skiba stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it. Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist visited CoComelon's studio, discovering their #1 focus is keeping children hooked. CoComelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates. Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct.
So it legit puts kids in a trance, or children in a trance, and it sounds so much like MK Ultra. Like when people talk about, I don't even know if we could say this word, but what they did at JFK per se, or what they tried to do to Trump. When the people that do it are under a spell, they don't even remember doing it because of the LSD, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But kids are getting addicted to this like adults get addicted to heroin, and it's so insane. And it's like, this next clip we're going to be talking about who, why, what, like whose fault is this? Is it CoComelon's fault or is it the parents' fault? So let's check this clip out.
CoComelon has a dedicated Distractatron room in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV playing CoComelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractatron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted. Therefore, education clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by CoComelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on CoComelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did exactly this. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to CoComelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is CoComelon, Semantics draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding CoComelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a CoComelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to CoComelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A CoComelon video came on and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video. It was honestly kind of terrifying. YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In CoComelon Made My Kid a Zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary. This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98, who explained when the CoComelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself. However, nothing shows the addiction better than the CoComelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly and video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly.
So their attention span is basically nothing, and babe, you've been a teacher for a long time. Would you say that their attention span has lessened?
Yes, significantly.
And do you think it's because of these kind of shows?
Yes, it just makes it hard to teach because you have to compete with CoComelon. You have to be bright, you have to be repetitive and loud and like in your face, and you can't compete with CoComelon.
Yep. Well, in this next clip, we're going to be talking about more studies and more proof that this is like MK Ultra. So check this out.
The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the Distractatron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the CoComelon theme song. It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that CoComelon song comes on, they're like, life is okay, all is good with the world. Obviously, there's a reason for this. CoComelon is so hyper-stimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away. Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 minutes after, adding in the description, CoComelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which this Reddit user had experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show. Her behavior changed changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it. After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
Basically, CoComelon overstimulates their brain so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too. She's 4 but can't speak properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these CoComelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late." Over on Reddit, a speech-language pathologist explained, "Screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but CoComelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs. The kids aren't able to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict supported by infant specialist Meg Fora."
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time, but in CoComelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for CoComelon specifically, because as explained by Jeremiah Skiba, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of CoComelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Ciara Renee explained, "My 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to CoComelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums." Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. "My 8-month-old was obsessed with CoComelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled CoComelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching." Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving CoComelon a massive amount of dislikes. They've therefore earned the title "The Absurdly Popular Kids Show Parents Hate," and CoComelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain, "Our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children. Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. CoComelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from CoComelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases. But is it CoComelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much. CoComelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Now, in my opinion, that's right on. I mean, a lot of people want to blame, teachers, YouTubers, TV shows, but at the end of the day, it's your child. It's your kid. I mean, you have to be present in the child's life and see what they're watching, and I think it's very important. So now with this next clip, it's about MKUltra, and we'll compare the two, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So check this out.
2 American spies have just arrived at Sandoz Laboratories, one of the world's leading pharmaceutical factories. The mission: corner the market on the world's supply of a powerful new psychoactive drug.
The CIA was scared stiff the KGB was going to get all this LSD and come over and start dosing people. So we bought every drop of LSD in existence at that point.
The CIA has just authorized the purchase of 10 kilograms of pure LSD-25, enough to dose more than half the population of the United States.
They gave it to George White and let George start dosing people.
George Hunter White, a larger-than-life undercover federal narcotics agent. Unbeknownst to his supervisors, White also works for the CIA, his job to conduct experiments for an operation called Midnight Climax.
George had a CIA safe house stocked with booze. George would sit behind this one-way mirror, drinking martinis, sitting on a portable toilet. If he had to take a leak, he didn't want to get up and leave.
White pays prostitutes to lure their client to the agency's safe house.
Hookers who would bring these suckers back to the apartment and dose them with pure LSD-25.
This is where I have my bet in the mind.
This is lysergic acid diethylamide, better known as acid. The powerful drug was first synthesized in 1938 in Switzerland. With a dose of mere microgram, the mind becomes confused, perception is distorted, personal identity is called into question. The results can be euphoric bliss or deadly panic. White takes meticulous note and files his reports to a CIA handler.
So that was how LSD was introduced to this country.
Operation Midnight Climax is part of a larger top-secret CIA program called MK Ultra. The goal, learn how to control and even reprogram people's minds. The CIA believes LSD might hold the key. Over the next 10 years, the agency doses a cross-section of the American public. Everyone from unwitting housewife to soldier to even criminals like gangster Whitey Bulge is tested.
You know, what the CIA really dreamed of was sort of like a drug you could give to someone, get them to commit all sorts of unspeakable acts, and they wake up the next day and they don't remember what they've done.
They were looking into brainwashing. They were looking into mind control. They were looking into how they could create what they called Manchurian Candidate. They were trying to figure out if they could get people to go out and do things that they would ordinarily not do, like assassination.
The case of MK Ultra has to be one of the craziest cases of blowback in CIA history, because here they took this drug, LSD, and thought that they were going to be able to use it to control people's minds, and the unbelievable irony is that LSD is a drug that does exactly the opposite. It frees your mind and causes people to question authority.
Turn on, tune in, drop out. The CIA's attempt to control people turned out to be just the opposite. It created the counterculture as we know it of the 60s. It was the CIA that introduced LSD to the United States.
So LSD, colors, they make you see things, and you know, does it sound familiar to you? I mean, it sounds familiar to me. And it's just like MK Ultra using a new technology, which is the media, or whatever media you let your child sit down and watch. I mean, I think topics like this are important, and kind of wanted to get your thoughts. That
I mean, it makes me think that they're testing out these different strategies of, you know, what's the best video we can show these little kids to control their brain, and then like later on in life they play a little Cocomelon song, and then they get all their little soldiers going, and that once they're all grown up and they're little Cocomelon soldiers that will do whatever they want later on in life. Who knows? I mean, well, they're definitely finding out like what works with brain control on little kids, and they're figuring it out. If they can control kids' speech delays and cognitive abilities, I mean, that, and little kids, that's supposed to be the time where they're absorbing the most and can learn the most. So,
and that was the whole theory in Helter Skelter, was that LSD made Charles Manson do these things. Well, they don't really go into that, but that's the main theory. And if that's the case, what you're saying is true. They can do all these things with the LSD or the colors that it's showing. It's just crazy. So, do you have any final thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, just it really is important what we teach our children and how we teach them, and just the culture around putting children in front of a screen and not knowing what's playing is so prevalent in today's world. And so I think you're making a really good connection there with the things that are pushed as the go-to child distraction videos, and perhaps some nefarious agendas behind them. And that's why I made that funny comment while you're showing. It was like, yeah, the children, you know, they behaved bad on Cocomelon, but when we showed them this other YouTuber, they were nice. And I was like, sponsored by the other YouTuber. You know?
Well, and it's crazy.
Kind of
look at Mr. Beast. I mean, he's being exposed right now for all kinds of things, and he's the biggest YouTuber, and he's targeting children. I mean, it's so sick what these big YouTubers do. So it doesn't really matter who it is. You just gotta, I mean, as a parent, I would think, I'm not a parent, but you should watch and see what your kids are watching before you let them watch it. I mean, my mom did that, and I appreciate her forever for that.
It's a different
Look
world.
at how Mr. Beast he's capitalizing on the very thing they talked about in your video, which was children love to watch content in a repetitive fashion because that's how their brains are wired to learn. And so people who've learned to tap into that repetitive nature of the youth that are growing up and get addicted to this or that. I mean, that's why Mr. Beast is tapping into that demographic, because that's where the money's at. That's where the views and the repetitive clicks are. I mean, I get bored with a long video I'm actually interested in watching, So anyways, very cool, man.
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's Skiba News Nation. Please like, share, and subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. But it's time to laugh a little bit, lighten the mood. I'm going to play you guys one of my favorite George Carlin clips, and I'll let it speak for itself, so check this out.
The only true lasting American value that's left, buying things. People spending money they don't have on things they don't need. Money they don't have on things they don't need. So they can max out their credit cards and spend the rest of their lives paying 18% interest on something that costs $12.50. And they didn't like it when they got it home anyway. Not too bright, folks. Not too bright. But if you talk to one of them about this, if you isolate one of them, you sit them down rationally, you talk to them about the low IQs and the dumb behavior and the bad decisions, right away they start talking about education. That's the big answer to everything. Education. They say we need more money for education. We need more books, more teachers, more classrooms, more schools. We need more testing for the kids. You say to them, well, we've tried all of that and the kids still can't pass the test. They say, don't you worry about that. We're going to lower the passing grades. And that's what they do in a lot of these schools now. They lower the passing grades so more kids can pass. More kids pass, the school looks good, everybody's happy, the IQ of the country slips another 2 or 3 points, and pretty soon all you'll need to get into college is a fucking pencil. Got a pencil? Get the fuck in there. It's physics. Then everyone wonders why 17 other countries graduate more scientists than we do. Education. Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start? Left behind? Someone's losing ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. They're irrelevant. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. You know something? They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich suckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Man, you know? And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue that's being jammed up their balls every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
I love that quote. I mean, he predicted so much stuff that it's insane. That came out in 2005. or 2005 or 2006, and he died. That was the second to last special he ever did. And I think, maybe did it have something to do with it? I mean, he was spitting a lot of truth at that time, and just blows my mind how ahead of his time he was. And I don't know. I wish he was still here, because he could make everything funny, So that's all I got for History's Mysteries. But before we go to memes, Jake, we got a very special guest, and I want to introduce you guys to somebody named Kristen, who's one of the biggest forces behind Skiba News Nation. And let's bring her on. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It looks like your stream got kicked off, though.
Yes, the stream
just a
is
minute ago.
unavailable.
Stream got disconnected?
That's what everyone's saying in the chat.
Oh, streams of suspended for policy violations.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
Well, sorry for the time, and Kristen, but thanks for joining us.
That was horrible
right.
timing.
Well.
I don't know what to do now.
Anyway.
Yeah. Good to see you there. What do you want to do, Jeremiah? They pretty much just knocked us off.
I don't know what to do. I've never had this happen.
Well, we're still recording.
Oh, we're still recording, so we can always put this in an episode. So.
Oh, good.
So, Kristen, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am a wife and a mother, and I've been serving God for a little over 12 years now. I've got 10 kids. I homeschool, and then I've recently started being a virtual assistant.
Awesome. So, what's been your favorite project so far that you've done?
Well, my favorite project with you guys, I guess you could say project, my favorite interview was with Lucas Cameron. I watched him. He was actually my first look into the Torah observant culture, the world, back years ago when he was on Doomsday Preppers. And my husband was trying to convince me to live this life, and I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit.
Yeah, I just got word that we're back on, so I don't know what just happened, community violation, but we could put this out.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, this is Kristen. She's probably the biggest help on Skiba News Nation that we have behind the scenes. She helps us get all the big guests, so I wanted to bring her on. So you watched a lot of my dad's research. How did he impact your life?
Well, he was also, right after we had met, I had discovered Lucas Cameron is when I when I discovered your father. And I watched all of his work as it was coming out. I think it was all of it anyway. He put out a lot of stuff. And it really helped move my family in the direction that we went, with not keeping Christmas and Easter and starting to keep biblical holidays. And he was very inspirational.
Wow. Yeah, I hear that from so many people that they feel like they knew my dad. And that's always, heartwarming to hear. So how did you and your husband meet?
It's actually a really interesting story. So I was about to turn 19, and a group of my friends had invited me to a party. This group of friends I did backyard wrestling with at the time, and the people had invited my husband and his friends, so I had never met half of the people that were at this party. My husband and his friends went outside. As they came back in, they saw another gentleman that I was doing the backyard wrestling with, and he had his hands around my neck. He wasn't hurting me at all. He was actually being flirtatious. But as my husband walked into the room, he came up behind him and did a rear naked chokehold on him.
Oh, wow.
And started whispering in his ear to go to sleep. And yeah, a week later he came and he picked me up and we hung out, and then that was a lovely introduction to my husband.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is a cool story. You just go to sleep. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's like the biggest force in your life. Like he helps you in so many ways, and I understand that you're doing this full time now. So how can people find out how to use your service, or do you want to describe kind of what it is and where they can go?
Okay. Well, I started Fellow Helper Agency, and you can go to fellowhelperagency.com. And I do any of the behind the scenes, email, getting the interviews, and I do prep work for the shows as well. I do timestamps and moderating, and then I've also learned how to do clips and making shorts out of the shows as well. And I was a producer for a documentary recently.
Oh, that's awesome. So,
Yes.
is there anything else you'd like to add? Because she is the best with connects. If you like any of our shows, any of our big guests, she's the person to go to. And if you have a channel, definitely go to our website.
Yeah, I enjoy what I do. I absolutely love it. I'm looking for anything really. I'm enjoying doing new stuff. I enjoy doing the same stuff I've been doing. I enjoy working for the community and being part of the team.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you. So,
Yes. Thank you for all your help.
You.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
No problem.
We'll see you. We'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, Jake, you got some memes for me today?
Oh, before.
Oh, wait.
Did we do the call in messages?
Oh.
We had Jerry ask.
Oh, yeah. Okay, before we do memes, sorry guys, we're live.
Thank
Sorry
you for
we
saying
cut
that
out.
and reminding us.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us. We have that special Skiba News Nation hotline calls that people were calling in and leaving us messages. So can we go ahead and play that, Opa?
This is Daryl, and I just wanted to say that one of my favorite moments is like when your dad, Jeremiah, said that he'd leap like a gazelle. I laughed and I cried and my heart was broken, and I fell in love with your dad at the moment. And I just wanted to share that. Thank you, because that's been so inspirational to me. And as far as the favorite episodes, I'm thinking maybe about the Beach Boys. That didn't surprise me about how music and stuff, you know. But yeah, I didn't expect that. I just all of a sudden it hit me when I was saying how when he said he leaped like a gazelle. I just, oh my gosh, it hit me again. Anyhow, I just want to say thank you, and you guys are doing a wonderful job, and I appreciate it. And congratulations. All right, bye now.
Hey Jeremiah, this is Paulino B. Michael of the Flat Out Truth. Congratulations on the 100th episode. You and you guys are doing great. Your family legacy of the Skiba name is doing wonderful. Your dad would be proud. So you have a blessed day, and that's the Flat Out Truth.
Congratulations on your 100th episode, Jeremiah, Jake, and Opa. I think it's fantastic that you finally got here. I love you guys. And I love this family and the Skiba News Nation family. So take care and enjoy. And I'm looking forward to the next 100 episodes. Bye-bye.
Me too.
Hey, Jeremiah, Jake, and Opa. I just wanted you guys to know that I've been following you since day one, and I just want to thank you for everything you've done and, you know, waking the world up. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Anyways, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Skiba News Nation, I just wanted to let you guys know that I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing and stick to the grind, you know, and Much love from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, hey guys, JJ Hempcrete Bear here. Wanted to congratulate you guys on your 100th show. It's been a real honor to be along with you guys on this ride, and I love you guys a lot. Have a great day, everybody. Love y'all.
So yeah, thank you guys. We love each and every one of you. Not just those of you who called, but those of y'all who are here right now. And you can leave us a voicemail anytime, 214-617-3330. So thank you guys. We love you. So you got some memes for me, Jake? Third time's a charm.
Yes. Let's do it.
All right, meet me up. Meet me up.
I love how you did the segment on over here. I love how you did the segment on children and stuff, because this meme goes right along with that, and it says, when your kids hurt themselves doing something you told them not to. Yes, very sad. Anyways, I mean, it's our responsibility to teach and protect, but sometimes children are just, they got to learn the lesson the hard way. Oh, man. Here was an interesting meme of the Masonic Creed, apparently attributed to John D. Rockefeller. Here's what it says. We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water as well as in the air. They will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. The soft metals will make them lose their minds. So, I don't know if that's actually what he said, but they're definitely following a script somewhere that's very likened to that Masonic credo from John.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Here's the new credos, apparently, from Kamala. World War III, nuclear explosion, allegedly. Madam President, Russia just nuked a U.S. city. How will you respond? I was born into a middle-class family. We loved our lawns.
And our school buses.
And our school buses. Middle class. America. Vote for me. 2024. All right. Here's an illustration of what happens when you post a meme in California.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Or if your string cuts off.
Coming to a Colorado near you, or whenever you do Skiba News Nation live. All right. I love it that our guest mentioned the feasts and how Rob has changed so many perspectives regarding the scriptures just by being that Berean. Here's a meme that says, that moment you realize what you've been taught about what the Bible says is not what the Bible says. So time to go and read a little bit yourself, right? And that's what leads people to doing things like Sukkot. This is the season. I know a group I was with just finished this last week. There's another group we're going to be hanging out with next month, going to keep Sukkot. What it's about, worshiping the light of the world, Yeshua. Rejoice, care for the poor, give offerings, celebrating the harvest, blowing the shofar. The Sukkah, the likely time Christ had been born, he was dwelling in a manger or a booth or a sukkah, right? It was the season of the feasts. Enjoy the treats. So anyways, just how the feasts of Yah are often overlooked by the modern church despite their clear and enduring significance is because Yah commanded these feasts to be observed forever, and if they will be enforced during the millennial reign, why not, practice them now? They even says in Zechariah, the consequences for people who don't keep these feasts in the millennial reign is that it won't rain on them. How could they not be relevant for believers today? The significance is that Yeshua the Messiah himself affirmed the importance of the feast, and he promised to celebrate Passover with his disciples in the kingdom. And this also shows that the feasts have a both present and future significance. And so as we see the world devolve into craziness, observing the times in the scripture, I think will have more and more prophetic significance. These feasts are an integral part of Yah's law, just as much as the Ten Commandments. Paul himself expressed his commitment to observing them, saying, by all means, I must keep this feast. And it is a time for believers to follow the example, honoring what Yah established for the good of his people. Observing the feast will not only deepen our faith, but expand our understanding of his word and his plan. It's so fascinating. This time often lines up with sometimes when the winter arc of the story kicks off, right? And that language basically means, the world gets darker as the winter comes in. And sometimes getting together with people that share a common interest in faith and desire to focus on and remember the Creator and his ways is a light that can kind of help prep you for the dark winter that's coming. One last meme. So I was like, I'm the Son of God. And they were like, no way. And I was like, Yahweh. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I thought it was, pretty apt. The time frame we're in, guys. I hope those who are celebrating the feast are having a good time and understand the significance of drawing close to your family and friends during this time where the world is so crazy. With that said, let's wrap us up with had that one more song to play from the festival. And then we can, I guess, wrap it up, bro.
Oh, you got a question right there. When is the Feast of Trumpets?
Oh, hey, there are several diverse ways of calculating the calendar. And coming up, I believe that the Feast of Trumpets is held when people would observe that crescent of the new moon. And there's a variety of other ways and calendars that people keep, but they're trying to do it to the best of their knowledge and understanding. But the significance is rather the season of being a watchman. And so the Feast of Trumpets is one of those feasts that in some calculations no man knows the day of the hour or when exactly we'll spot that moon. And not to disavow or push away anybody who calculates differently, but the concept is that we need to be paying attention to these times, these seasons. And I often end up celebrating one or two different feet, the same one, sometimes a month apart, just because I'm there to come together with my friends and family because I love them, and it's a time we like to get together. But sorry for a very vague answer there.
All right, man. Well, you want to play that song before I do the outro?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, let's do this. Courtesy of Jeremiah's awesome filming skills. Check it out.
And action.
They will come to you with dreams. I'll appear as wolves and priests, but they're not from Elohim. They will say he's Christ, but they live another life. But for those that love the truth, this message is for you. Seven stars in his head from out the mouth of swords. Countenance like the sunlight forever. We will not bow down to the idols of men. Yahweh calls all men to repent. He does not will pass many words should be lost, but wickedness increase 'cause we forgot the cause. Seven stars in his head from out the mouth of sword. Countenance like the sunlight forever. And now, a message to the churches. Ephesus, speak to the lovely, for you have forgotten your first love. Smyrna, Speak to the sweet smell, the good in which you've done. Persevere the persecution. Pergamos. Speak to those on high. Forsake idolatry and lies. Thyatira. Speak to savor of sacrifice. Resist Jezebel and rise. Sardis. Speak to those escaping. Your works are dead, yet you say you are alive. Keep your garments undefiled. Philadelphia. Speak to brotherly love. You have little strength, but you will be preserved. Laodicea. Speak to a just people. Lukewarm, blind, and naked. Repent. Before I spit you overcomes, tree of life, you have won. You've escaped the second death. Place a crown upon his head. Power over nations, that's that synagogue at your feet. Written in the book of life, you'll be welcome to the
Very cool, man.
Awesome.
I will say, I did, being by that speaker so long, I couldn't hear for a couple days, but it was well worth it. Your mic's out.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Jeremiah. And hey, for 100 episodes, we have had such a great time. And here's to, the next however 100 many episodes we crank out in the coming months and years. And so thank you guys for all your support and encouragement over the years. And it's just been an awesome thing to be involved with. So thank you, Jeremiah, for having me along with you on the ride. And it's just been so fun.
Well, thank you for being my co-host. So now for a live sign-off, which I've never done. So Jake, thank you for another great current news and memes as always. Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed today's History's Mystery segment and enjoyed this live episode as a whole. Stay awake, not woke, subscribe, and stay tuned. Oh, now we're in this one. If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe. And also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.